Welcome to 10 Seconds to Air. I'm Alita Guillen. Ever think about quitting your day job to follow one of your hobbies? Or do you say, I'll do X, Y, or Z when I retire someday? Or maybe there's something you really want to try, but you are afraid to just jump in. Many of us think about following our passion and cutting out of the daily grind, but if that passion doesn't pay the bills, then we put it off until someday in the future. Today's guest left his job as a teacher and made a career out of writing. At the time, he needed some extra income and wrote about what he loved, music and basketball. That passion eventually led to 5 New York Times best-selling books and a whole new money-making career. Shea Serrano is a writer, author, podcaster, and former science teacher. He joins me now to share his journey, his advice, and his NBA predictions.
Stand by. We're going live. We're going live. 10, 9, going live. 7, 6, 5, going live. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Shea Serrano, thanks so much for joining me today.
What is going on?
And you are coming to us you're in San Antonio, right?
I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Yes, ma'am.
And is this your podcast studio?
This is my office. I have an office downtown that I've been in for a few years now.
Okay. So what I loved about your story and what really caught my attention was not so much basketball, but we will get to talk about basketball, was that you you made this huge shift in your life from teacher to writer, to storyteller, to now communicator. I mean, you really figured out how to communicate with people in a way that really resonates. You probably don't think of yourself like that, but me as a communicator, I do think of you like that. So I have to start with my first question, which is what goes through your mind 10 seconds to air?
10 seconds to air. Anytime I'm about to do an interview or a podcast or a TV spot or walk into a meeting or anything like that, I just think, don't screw it up. Do not screw it up, bro. That's what's playing in my head all the time. Don't say the wrong thing. Don't do the wrong thing. Don't make the wrong joke. That's the main one. My natural instinct is to like make a joke about basically every situation. And so I got to be like, don't do it this time. Not this time. Hold it.
Okay. Are you known for that? Are you known for saying something that you might regret?
I'm known for making a joke maybe when it shouldn't be made, but that's mainly like in my personal life, because professionally that's what I'm supposed to do. You know, if I'm going to go on a podcast, I'm going to make a bunch of jokes, or if I'm going to be on a thing or write a thing, I'm going to write some jokes in there. But sometimes it's like hard to separate how you behave on a podcast versus how you behave in a conversation just at lunch with somebody. You know what I mean?
And so would you say that is the biggest challenge in your communication?
That is probably the biggest challenge in my communication in my personal life. Yes. Yeah, that's going to be it. It's either that, or you know what the main thing is? All of the work that I do, like on my own, I get to have the final say of everything, right? Like I run this publishing company called Halfway Books, and we put out a couple of things a year, but I'm like, I'm going to write the thing. Even I send it off to my editor. She sends me the edits back. I get to decide which ones I accept or don't accept. Right. I get to decide what the cover illustrator designs. I get to decide all of the stuff. I get to be like the final voice in the thing, and that works well for me in a professional capacity. But in a personal capacity, sometimes I will find myself doing the same thing, and it doesn't work well in like a personal relationship. Be it with my wife or with my children or my parents or my sisters or a friend. Like you can't just steamroll people that you care about and have it become like a meaningful thing.
Right. So what do you do? How do you reel that in?
I think I just have that in the back of my head of like, don't do it this time. I know you want to do it. I know you think you know best, but you probably don't. Let's hear what the other person has to say, because they probably are going to know more information than you are. It's just, you just got to be mindful of it.
Right. Becoming a better listener. So you did not start off in this career with writing about basketball, talking about basketball, publishing. You started off in a different lane. How did you make that
Correct.
journey? What lane was that? And then how'd you make that jump?
Prior to being a writer, I was a middle school science teacher, right? So I taught in South Houston for 9 years, and I was in charge of I taught the ESL population, so English as a second language, which eventually became ELL, which is English language learners. But I taught that population of kids, I taught the special ed population of kids, and I taught the behavior accommodations population of kids, which is the kids who get in trouble a lot. Those were the groups of students that I had. So I was doing that. I did that for 9 years. I was also, coach of the football team, the basketball team, the track team, the soccer team. Like, if you're a guy at a school, you're probably going to have to coach something. So I was coaching all this stuff and doing all that. And I thought, this is a job that I love. This is a job I'm going to do for my whole life. I'm excited about being 35 years from now and like a student walks in and I get to be like, oh, I taught your mom, or I taught your dad. Like that was a thing I was after. My wife was a middle school teacher as well. We got married. We were having kids. We were having our first 2 kids, twins. And about 4 months into the pregnancy, she went into labor while she was at work. And it was like, well, this is a bad situation. They rushed her to the hospital. They had to do this emergency surgery, like this emergency cerclage that they put in there. And they were like, you can't get up anymore. If you get up, the babies are going to fall out, right? It's like a whole disaster of a thing. So we all of a sudden went from a family of 2, me and her, living off of 2 teacher salaries, which at the time I was making like $1,100 every 2 weeks, right? We were both getting about the same. So together we're bringing in $4,400 a month for 2 people. That's not bad. You can survive on that. No problem. But all of a sudden we went from a family of 2 making $4,400 a month to now we're going to be a family of 4 making $2,200 a month. And the numbers in my little spreadsheet were all of a sudden they were all red. Our rent alone was $1,600, and I'm like, oh my God, there goes $1,600 of my $2,200. That's not counting food. That's not counting electricity. That's not counting a car payment, student loans. So I was trying to figure out, I gotta make a few $100 extra per month until Laramie can go back to work was the plan. And so I started applying at all these part-time jobs, to be a waiter, to work at Target or Walmart or whatever. And nobody would hire me because I was working the hours that they needed me to work. And so I just Googled work from home job. Writer was one of them. I'm researching that says you just need the internet and a computer and you could be a writer. And I was like, well, I got both of those things, so I'll try that. And that's how it started. Then it became, okay, I need to learn how to freelance. I need to learn how to pitch stuff. I need to learn all this stuff, try to absorb everything that I could, start calling the local newspapers in Houston. This is back in 2007, 2008, which is a much better time for media. But I was able to wiggle my way into the alt weekly newspaper in Houston, and then start making a couple $100 writing for them. And I took that and flipped that into. I went from there to for the alt weekly in Houston to the alt weekly in LA Weekly, to the Village Voice in New York, to MTV.
Wow.
I just kept taking it each time and being like, yeah, you just go, hey, I wrote for these other people. You should let me write for y'all too. And they go, okay, cool, pitch us some stuff. And then you take that and you go to the next bigger thing and the next bigger thing, and you just sort of work your way up. And then, so I was doing that for a number of years, And
what were you writing? What were you writing about?
I started out doing sports stuff. The very first thing that I wrote was about the Houston Texans. I was living in Houston at the time. That's where my wife was from. The very first thing I wrote was about the Houston Texans. I wrote it for a neighborhood newsletter. You say newsletter now and everybody thinks this email marketing campaign situation, right? But back then it was an actual, a thing that somebody would print up and then hand out in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? It was
wow. Think about that.
Yeah. It was this older woman. Her name was Frances Allday. I'll never forget her. She was the first person who paid me to write for her. She paid me $15 to write about the Houston Texans for her neighborhood newsletter that her and her husband would print up in their garage on a machine that had a lever. You did like this and it would spit out copies. And so she, print up a couple hundred of those and hand them out to her neighbors. And so I started writing about sports for her. I wrote 2 things for her. one about the Texans, one about the Astros. And then I took those 2 clips and then I went to the Houston Press, which is the alt weekly in Houston. And I said, look, I'm a writer. This is my proof.
Yeah.
They didn't have sports. They don't cover sports. They do
Oh.
music, art, and like food. And I said, okay, well, I know about music. I could write about music for you. I just started pitching them music stuff. And then it was from there forward, it was a combination of music or sports stuff, wherever I could fit in, anywhere.
And this was because you were a big sports fan and music fan? I mean, where did you get the knowledge?
Correct.
This was, you were just observing, you were a sports fan and you were observing and writing what you knew or what you felt.
Yeah, so when I started researching about how to be a writer, that was one of the tips of like the way you can get into this is you have to like prove yourself as an expert at something in some sort of subject matter. And I thought, okay, well, the 2 things I know the most about are music and sports. I guess in like movies, those would be the 3. But I knew a bunch about those, and so then I was able to pitch stuff and sound like I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so that's all happening. Meanwhile, we found out very early on after the twins were born. They were born in the summer. They were born in June. Laramie was going to go back to work that August, and then we found out, full-time daycare for 2 babies is more than she would make as a teacher.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even afford for my wife to go back to work.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't afford for my wife to have a job is where I was in life. And so we talked about it and she was like, all right, well, you keep doing your writing. I'll take care of this part and let's see what happens. And
what happened?
And it just kept, the writing kept growing. Right. And then all of a sudden, I started out, I said, I need to make like $500 or $600 a month as a freelance writer. And I started being able to do that pretty consistently. Okay, I'm gonna try to make $1,000 this month. I'm gonna try to make $2,000. And then all of a sudden, the money that I was making writing outpaced the money that I was making as a teacher.
Amazing.
And I said, all right, well, what happens if I get rid of teaching and I focus only on writing? And around that time is when I fell into the orbit of this guy named Bill Simmons, who is the most popular sports and pop culture writer of all time, right? That's the guy. That's like the number 1 guy in the history of the world. Nobody's ever been more successful. And so I landed on his radar, and then he brought me to his company.
Well,
At
wait,
the time,
how
it was
did
called
let's not skate over that. How did you end up on his radar?
I ended up on his radar by way of this woman named Molly Lambert, who was also a writer. And I mentioned that I was writing at LA Weekly. Grantland is based in LA Weekly. Molly lived in LA. She still lives there. And she saw a thing that I had written for LA Weekly. She thought it was funny. She thought it was good. She passed it to the editors. And then they were like, oh, ask him if he wants to write for us. Right. Now, I had never met Molly, not one single time in my life. I had never emailed with her. There was no reason for her to do what she did. She just was like, that's the type of person she is.
She just liked your work.
She just liked the work, and she's just a kind person. And so she passed it along, and then I started pitching stuff to them. And then after a while, they offered me a full-time writing job. I was still pretty nervous about leaving teaching. So I said, well, I don't want to do a full-time because journalism, everything I read about journalism says you're going to get fired in 4 weeks as soon as you take a job. And I said, I'll do a part-time job. So I won't write for anybody else, but I'll write for y'all.
And who was that? You were going to write for?
For Grantland, Bill Simmons' website.
Okay.
It was like the pop culture arm of ESPN.
Okay. Was that going to be enough to leave your teaching job?
Not initially, because it was part-time.
Okay.
So I had part-time plus I was still teaching. And those 2 together was enough to pay all of our bills. So I did that for a year and I really liked it. I really liked having a home base. I really liked feeling like I had writing co-workers for the first time.
Right.
And so near the end of it, I signed a 1-year part-time contract. And near the end of that 1-year part-time contract, Bill called and an editor there, this guy named Chris Ryan. And they were like, hey, your contract is coming up. This is what you were able to do like part-time. Try it for 1 year full-time and let's see what happens. Just 1 year. Give us 1 year and we'll see what happens. And I said, okay, I need this much money for 1 year. And they said, cool, done. And I knew I had not asked for enough money as soon as they said yes for the first thing. But then I was like, all right, I'm going to leave teaching. I left teaching in June of 2015. I started at Grantland in July of 2015. And then in October of 2015, Grantland got closed.
Oh.
ESPN was like, we're done. We're done with Grantland. It's shutting down. Everybody is fired. And
oh no.
so exactly what I thought was going to happen ended up happening. Thankfully, they were honoring the contract. I had signed a 1-year contract. Everybody was under contract. They're like, we'll pay out the rest of your contract, and then you're on your own. And during the time between when my contract was up, or before it was up, Bill and then 4 of the editors from Grantland went and started a new thing on their own, like an independent thing. And then as soon as my contract was up at Grantland at ESPN, they just brought me over there with them. And so then I got to be full-time writer there for 6 years. And during that period, I was also writing books and
So
TV
let's
stuff and
pause
movie
for a
stuff.
second and talk about the books, because that's a big jump to go from I'm just writing kind of what I know about and love and contributing as now you've become kind of a sports writer, right? To suddenly I'm going to publish books, and not just publish books, but they become bestsellers. So it's not,
Right.
so let's not skate over that again.
Okay.
So let's talk about the books. The first book.
Okay. A common theme will come up in anytime that I like discuss the arc of my career. Every like 2 years, somebody would show up and like do something nice for me unprompted, like Molly passing along my information to like that was happening every so often. So like in 2013-ish, 2012, 2013-ish, there's a rapper in Houston. His name is Bun B, and Bun B is like one half of my favorite rap group of all time, UGK. And he's he's like regionally famous. In Houston, he's like the mayor of Houston. And I had met him a couple of times covering rap shows for the Houston Press. And he had my number because I had interviewed him a couple of times.
And you were doing music and sports, so you cross over. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so I was doing all that. And I just out of nowhere, one day I left work. I was still teaching at the time. I left work. I turned my phone on. I was turning my phone off when I go to work just because you don't want to be distracted. But I turned my phone on at the end of the day after whatever basketball practice I had finished. And I had a voicemail from Bun B. And I'm like, what the heck is this? I listened to it and he's like, hey, it's Bun. I want to write a book. I want to write a book with you. Don't call me back today. Talk about it with your wife. Let me know how you feel like in a couple of days. He's like the smartest guy I've ever met. Talk about it with your wife. Let me know. Like, think about it for a couple of days before you answer me, because I know your instinct is going to be just to say yes immediately. But think about it first. And so he just did that out of nowhere. There was no like, I didn't have any idea of thinking about writing a book. None of it. And so I thought about it for 10 seconds, and immediately I was like, of course I'm going to do this.
Right.
Of course I'm going to do
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And so I eventually called him back, and he said, okay, cool. Let's figure out what the idea is. And I was trying to figure out what's a thing that I could pitch to him that is a little bit unexpected and that he might be cool to write, right? I don't want to do like the biography of UGK or something like that. I'm gonna do something that feels a little more like me. And so I pitched him on this idea of doing a coloring book. I said, let's do a rap coloring book, Bun B's rap coloring and activity book. Because you're friends with all of the famous rappers, you can ask them if we can use their likeness in this book. I'll draw the coloring pages. I'll figure out how to do all of that. And let's do that. And he was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go. And so I was very excited. I put together a pitch doc. I sent it out, a pitch deck. I sent it out to every publisher that I could find on the internet. And they all told me no, every single one. They either told me no or they didn't respond.
Wow. And that's a really common response, writers will say, that everyone told them no, right? They were just looking. So where did you get the yes?
I got the yes. Again, this person out of nowhere. After everybody told me no, I was trying to figure out what to do because I don't want to go back to Bun and be like, hey, listen, nobody wants to work with me. I got to figure something out. And I had watched enough episodes of Shark Tank to know that I needed a proof of concept, right? I need to prove that this is an idea people are interested in. So what I did is I started Bun B's rap coloring and activity Tumblr.
You started what?
A Tumblr. Do you remember Tumblr?
Yes. Okay.
So I did, instead of Bun B's rap coloring and activity book, I did Bun B's rap coloring and activity Tumblr. And every day I would upload one coloring book page for free. I would just draw this page, upload it for free that people could download it, link to a song and be like, here's the coloring book page for today. And when I did that, after like a few days, it went viral and it spread everywhere. Right.
Wow.
And one of the places that it ended up was a New York magazine. And they would do this thing called the like approval matrix. And it ended up on there. And because it ended up on there, because it went viral, all of a sudden all the places that had told me no came back and they're like, actually, that was a good idea.
Yeah, actually,
You know
we
what I mean?
like you. Okay.
And so all of a sudden I had like offers to turn it into a book. And one of those places was this woman named Samantha Weiner. She was at Abrams Books at the time. And that was one of the places that didn't respond when I sent it. So I didn't officially hear a no from them. But she reached out and she's like, hey, I saw this thing. This could be a good book. Do you want to make it a book? And I was like, again, absolutely, I do. And that's how the book stuff started. And then so that happens in 2013. 2015, I write like a full actual, like a book. The rap yearbook is what that one was. And that was the first one that made the bestseller list. That one also went viral. It spread all over. And then I went from that one to basketball and other things. And the rap yearbook like snuck onto the bestseller list. You know, they do like 10 to 15 spots or whatever. And we were near the bottom. The basketball book came, and that one was number 1 on the bestseller list. And that's a whole different world that you walk into when you get a book up there.
Meaning what?
Meaning all of a sudden I didn't have to like pitch stuff anymore.
Oh, for the next
People
one.
would just go for the next one.
Yeah.
That they would go, hey, do you want to write a book? And I would go, yeah, I don't know what it's about yet. And they're like, it's fine. Here's a check.
Wow.
We'll see you in 2
Wow.
years, right? So that book comes out. That one makes number 1 on the bestseller list. That one was the one that Barack Obama put on his list of like favorite books of the year.
Oh, well, that's not bad. That kind of helps.
It was very helpful. All this stuff was happening. The rap yearbook ended up becoming a docuseries for AMC. The basketball book became a docuseries for Hulu. And then I did the movie book after that. That one debuted again at number 1 on the bestseller list. And then, you know, it's like every 2 years, every 3 years, I was putting out a book, but again, it's all because like Samantha came to me and asked me that I want to write this book. When I did the rap yearbook, that was Samantha's idea. She said, hey, I've been thinking about this as an idea for a book. It's going to be 1979 to 2014. Every year, every chapter is like about the most important rap song of the year, and we need somebody to write that. Do you want to? Like that was her. She came up with that idea. She brought it.
Okay, so you seem to pass off a lot of your success or of your opportunities as sort of like luck, and I just found this really good person.
A bunch of it, yeah. Look, I don't mind saying I'm a good writer. I know I'm a good writer, but I'm not like a writer that will change your life. You know what I mean? I'm not like a Wesley Morris level writer.
I get it.
You know what I mean? But I'm a good writer, and I'm a hard worker. I don't have any problem saying those things. But there are people who are better writers than me and who work harder than me, who just didn't have somebody open the door or lower down a ladder or some. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to sort of challenge that because I read I read this last book,
Expensive Basketball.
Basketball, and you have a voice that is very unique. So it's one thing to say, I'm a good writer and I'm a hard worker, but you also have to be a really good communicator or be able to connect with that audience in whatever way it might be. Okay. Right. So it's not enough to say like, oh, I love basketball and I'm a good writer. Okay, well, that makes you a good, like, kind of newspaper journalist, columnist, whatnot. But you have a pretty unique voice. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And don't you think that having that unique voice helps in some of your success?
I think it absolutely does help in the success. But the only way that you can get to like do something like that is if somebody tells you you can do something like that. You know what I mean? Like if you were to go write for like a newspaper or whatever, there's typically a house style. We want you to write a certain way. We need this information in the thing. And if I had ended up in a place like that, I'm sure I would have done fine and been okay. But I ended up like working for places that let me push that a little bit. Like I mentioned Bill, right? That was such a big thing because, again, he's the most popular guy. He reaches across the internet. He touches you on the forehead. And when he does something like that, everybody else pays attention. I wasn't doing anything different after he did that with my writing. Everybody just went, oh, this is important because Bill said it was important, right? And if that doesn't happen, then who knows what everything looks like. But because he did that, because he brought me to go work for him, he was just straight up like, hey, listen, just write what you think is cool and we'll take care of all the rest. You don't ever have to worry about a page count, page views. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just write the stuff that you want to write. Pitch the stuff that you want to pitch. Will help make it better. And if I had not gotten that opportunity, then I wouldn't have been able to develop the voice that, sort of serves the book.
Okay. Well, and I'm going to say that he doesn't just tap anyone on the forehead. He taps somebody that he thinks is pretty different, unique, standout. So I'm going to just pat you on the back because you're because your voice is unique. I love that. I mean, it's what really drew me to you and wanting to invite you on this podcast was because I thought, there are a lot of people out there that can talk about basketball or music or rap, whatever. But there aren't a lot of people who can talk about it like you do. So even though you say, you were lucky. We'll park that to the side a second. I'm going to say you're also very talented and you've got a unique way of speaking with people, which you talked right at the beginning about saying like, I got to be careful what I say. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to make the wrong joke. In your writing, saying what you're thinking, because that's what it appears how you're saying what you're thinking in those in your writing. Seems to work pretty well. You say things like, you use the word like. I mean, it's almost as if I'm in the room with you when you are writing. It's extremely conversational. I would love to know what your process is in some of that writing and how much of it is edited. How much of it does someone come through with a red marker and go, no, you can't say it like that, or puts it back in and says it, I need you to say it more conversationally. Like, what's the thinking process in that style?
So the way that works typically is I'll start writing. I'll be sitting there typing it at my computer. I'll have like a general idea of like the thing that I want to say about something, right? And so I'll just start typing away and see what happens. I'll put together an outline. I'm a big outline person. I'm like, I know I want to hit these things at some point. Okay, great. I have that. Start typing. And then after I type through it, write it all, I would like read it out loud.
Oh,
see, does this sound like how I would say it if I were talking to somebody in real life? That's very important to me. Then I'll read it and I go, that sentence doesn't have the right cadence. It doesn't land how I want it to. Let me try it again. And then I'll just do that. And then I'll usually talk with Laramie is my wife. I'll talk with Laramie about it and like talk my way through the article and see, does this feel like a natural conversation? Is there some ebb and flow to it? There's some unexpected moments in it. I'll do that. And then once I have that in a good place, then I send it to my editor. And so I have an editor right now. Her name is Hannah Georges Johannes. She used to be at the Atlantic, and now she's like on her own. So she edits all of the like halfway books stuff. So I send it to Hannah, and here's a perfect example. She sent me back a thing that she edited. I wrote it, turned it in a couple days ago. She sent it back today. It had nearly 300 edits in it. 300 things, right? And now I don't need somebody to be like, be more conversational, because that's the default setting. I need somebody to go, this idea that you have isn't fully
baked,
fleshed out.
Yeah.
It's missing something. Push a little further here. There's a hole here. What if you said it like this? Is this what you're trying to say? Like, I need somebody to do that.
Right.
And all of my best editors
to pull more out of you.
Exactly. I'm good with making the jokes. I need somebody to make sure that like the house isn't all sheetrock. There needs to be foundation in there.
Right.
And that's what Hannah does. That's what Samantha, I mentioned Samantha did. Margaret Downing at the Houston Press, Chris Gray, Sean Finnessy, Donnie Kwok. Like, all of my favorite editors were people who were good at that part of it. And so that's how the process goes. And I'll go through and I'll see the notes that she has in there. I'll like work a little harder to get an idea across, send it back to her. Does this work? Does this feel better? And again, I'm just reading everything out loud and trying to make sure it sounds like, I just want it to sound like, number one, like you were talking to a buddy of yours.
Right.
But number two, that the buddy you're talking to is like very smart and insightful, right?
Okay.
In a way that I'm not going to be that in real life, because I don't get to do a conversation 15 times. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be saying it as I'm saying it. So but I want it to sound like how I would say the stuff if I were saying it. In
So you've had a lot of success, obviously, and been able to turn this, middle school science teacher into a very successful writer, communicator, podcaster. What kind of criticism or adversity have you had to experience in making that change?
Well, we touched on it briefly before. So much of writing is like being told no for stuff.
Right.
So there's always that part of it. There, I could try and pitch a thing today. Somebody's going to tell me no. It doesn't matter that I've written 5 best-selling books. I can't just email the New York Times and be like, I want to write about this. They're going to like, that's too. We have 400 people who are more connected, more talented than you are, like unique, and you can't just do it. So there's being told no is always a part of it. A thing that has happened over the last few years that there's just fewer places to like go to write. You sort of have to build your own ship. Now there's that part of the adversity is in there. And then once you start building your own thing, like if I put a book out, like on my own thing, I'm obviously very concerned with how it sells. And it doesn't matter if it sells 200 copies or 2,000 copies or 20,000. It doesn't matter. Whatever the number is that comes in after like those first few days, you're always bummed out about it. You're like, it should have been more. It doesn't matter what it is. You're always like a little bit sad that it didn't sell 400 million copies. You're like, dang, Ollie. You know what I mean? So those are the main ones that I feel at this particular point in my career for sure.
Yeah. So what do you have going on right now? You have a lot of balls in the air. You're writing.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What's the
I'm
week?
always trying to write.
Yeah. What's the weekday month like?
The weekday month. So the main projects that I have, right, are I do this weekly newsletter that publishes once a week every Friday called Good Movie, where every Friday we put out an essay and a video about a movie that is good. Like the one that comes out in 2 days is about the movie Training Day, starring Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke from 2001, right? And that's usually like 5,000 to 6,000 words. And so I have been working on each of those for like a couple of weeks at this point, and we're just getting it ready. But I'm always I'm always getting something ready for like a couple of weeks in advance. So there's that thing that's going on. There is, I have like a couple of TV show ideas that I've been trying to figure out, trying to develop those. So there's always like some time dedicated during the week to working on those things. And then I have a couple of projects that are going to come out next year through my publishing company that I'm trying to make sure everything is in order and situated there. So like every day when I come to work, I have like a little schedule book where I write everything down. I say, okay, this is what I'm working on today. Focus on that and do that. And hopefully if I check off enough of my little boxes, I'll get some stuff done.
So you're talking about movies and you talk about basketball. What else do you talk about? Is it all kind of pop culture?
All pop culture stuff, yeah. I really like movies. I really like basketball. I really like music and TV. Those are like my favorite things to write about. Every once in a while, I'll do some fiction stuff on my own. Like where I'm going to publish a short story next year. That's just like a fiction thing. I've done a few of those that are really fun to write, but primarily it's pop culture, nonfiction type stuff.
And were you always a writer?
No,
not at all.
Nobody's all. There's like 7 people who are always a writer, right? The top level people were born to write. I didn't like writing in school. I barely made my way through high school. Both of my parents were like high school dropouts. Like it was not like a thing I was super excited about doing. It was just like I didn't know you could do that for a job until I started doing it for a job. You know what I mean? Like I grew up I grew up on the south side of San Antonio. We were like on government assistance, welfare, Section 8 housing, this whole thing. And they don't say to like that kid, hey, you like basketball? Like you could just talk about basketball and people will give you money. Like they don't say that you could do that for a job. They say, do you want to go cut yards with your uncle when you're done with high school? Or do you want to go work at the tire shop with your other uncle? Or do you want to go lay tile with your other uncle? Or do you want to do irrigation, dig some trenches with your other, like those are the jobs they ask you if you are interested in doing those. So I didn't know you could do that for money until I started doing that for money.
And did you even like writing?
I liked it once I started doing it. Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
It's like it's a puzzle that you sort of have to solve every time. And I'm old enough now. I'm 44, right? So I've done enough, tried enough things in my life to know mostly if something is hard, I'm going to just quit it. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Exercising? You want me to go lift weights? I don't want to do that. It's hard. I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to. But some of the stuff is hard and it makes you want to be better at it. Teaching, very hard job. It's so hard. This is why so many teachers quit like in the first 2 years, right? Because what happens is a person goes into a classroom, the kids kick the shit out of them for a couple of weeks, months, whatever. And then that person either goes, I'm out of here. This sucks. Or that person goes, I want to be good at this, right? And writing was the same sort of thing for me. Writing's very hard to do, but it was like a thing. As soon as I started doing it, I go, I want to be good at this. How do I be good at this? I'm not afraid to do the work there. It's only happened a couple of times in my life where I came across something that was different. Working a job in construction, this is hard. I do know I'm out of here.
Right.
This sucks.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, so much of that stuff. Podcasting is hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand the amount of prep that has to go into it before. I can't do that full time. I can't. I'll do it part time.
Yeah.
I'll do 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Prepare for that or whatever. I can't do it full time. It's too much work. It's too hard, and my body won't do it.
Yeah, but it sounds like there's sort of a threshold for you. It's like it's hard, but I like that feeling and I want to get good at that. That's what you're saying. Versus it's hard, I'm out. Construction hard,
that's exactly
I'm out.
it. Construction hard, out. Exercising hard, out. But writing hard, fun. I wanna do it.
And like you said, that was not brought to you as a kid. No one said to you like, "Hey, Shea, you want to write? You could do that. You could do that and make quite a lot of money."
Nobody said that. But I'm saying it to my kids, and they don't want to do it. They're like, I don't want to do it. That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible, Dad. I don't want to do that.
So what's the lesson in that then? What's the lesson there? To more opportunity, more don't think anything's out of the question? How do you characterize that?
Yeah, I think that's all it is. I think it's just what ends up happening is you just start, when you're a parent, all that you want is for your kid to like find a thing that they like. That's it. Doesn't matter. When I have 3 sons, the twins who I mentioned, they're 18 years old now, right? So they're freshmen in college. And then a 13-year-old who's a 7th grader. And I was literally 2 days ago, was just talking with the 7th grader who he was going to run track this year. And he was like, actually, I don't want to run track, right? I thought I wanted to do it. I don't want to do it. But he's in drums. He's really good at drums. And he's like, I just want to stay in drums and be good at that. Like, I don't need him to like the stuff that I like. I don't need him to like love basketball or love movies or music or whatever. I just need for him to have a thing that he can do that he enjoys. Same with the other 2. Like, but turns out they're all music kids. One plays the bass, one plays the guitar, one plays the drums, right? They like artsy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're not sports kids. And that to me, like, there's nothing better than when I can hear them all in their rooms playing their things. That's cool to me. So it would be cool if they were writers, because I'm sort of building this thing and they could just come work for me and I don't have to worry about the heartache of not having a job or whatever. But they're not going to do that. They're going to do their own thing. And all that I'm hoping for is that they find a thing that makes them feel the way that like teaching made me feel, or the way that writing makes me feel now. Like just a job that's rigorous, but you like it.
Yeah, that you like it. Basketball. Just want to talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Where's the love for basketball come from?
Oh man, that's from the time I was a little tiny kid. You start playing with your friends, and it just gets its hooks into you. I don't think it's like, it's not a thing unique to basketball. This happens with whatever the thing is that you love, but you find it as a kid or as an adult or whatever, and there's just something about it that is appealing to you. I like basketball. I like competing in stuff. It's like very fun to me. I like that there's a lot of trash talking involved. I like that it's like confrontational without being like
but fair,
ultra
but kind of
violent.
fair, like, but not,
Yeah.
like, but there's sort of rule confrontational, but there are rules, like no one's going to die. Hopefully.
I like that there's very clearly, like, if you go to a basketball court, any basketball court in the world, there's like a best player there. And everybody knows who it is. Everybody's like, oh, it's Derek at this court.
Yeah.
It's a Kathy at this court. Oh, it's like, there's a best person there. And I like that, that sort of meritocracy is very appealing to me. It's like a video game almost, where you get to work your name up the list. It gets set a little. That's interesting to me. A similar thing happened last year. Maybe like 14 months ago, I started boxing. Right. At 43, I was like, I'm gonna go in here and just start boxing. I'm gonna try that. And then it turned out I really liked it. I thought I was gonna hate it. Turned out I really liked it. I still go multiple times a week. But yeah, just like a thing just gets its hooks into you, and there's something about it that's appealing and interesting.
Hard, but worth it. Hard, but worth it. Right. Hard,
Boxing
but worth
is another
it.
one. I was like, you get hit in the face and you find out real quick
if you like it.
I like this or I don't like it. And it turned out, weirdly, I liked it.
What do you think about the WNBA?
Oh, I'm a big WNBA fan. I started watching the WNBA in 2018, right? Which was the same season that the Las Vegas Aces, which is my favorite team, drafted Asia Wilson, which is my favorite player, right? I'm in San Antonio. I'm a Spurs guy. San Antonio Spurs. We had a player for 19 years named Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward who has ever lived. Yeah. And then I was looking for a team. The Aces had just drafted Asia Wilson. She was a power forward. Everybody was saying she had like the chance to do something great. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to attach myself to her and see what happens. And then it turns out she's the best player on the planet. And now fast forward seven years later, she got 3 championship rings and 4 MVPs and some defensive player of the year trophies. But yeah, I watched it a bunch. I came to it late, obviously. I came 2018, but I really like it.
So okay, basketball pick this year, basketball pick and player, both WNBA and NBA.
Like who's gonna win a championship?
Yeah.
Oh, Oklahoma City Thunder and the NBA is very clearly the best team on the planet. Nobody's gonna beat them 4 times in 7 games. That's as good as done. Like as long as nobody gets injured, they're gonna repeat. They won last year. They're gonna win it this year. The WNBA is a little more fun in that respect because there are a couple of teams who are very close to winning, and nobody expected the Las Vegas Aces to win it this year because they had lost the year before, and like, oh, they passed the, they're over the hill was the talk, and then Asia Wilson went bonkers, and it didn't matter who was on the court. She was putting everybody in a casket. So I'm gonna stick with Asia. I'm gonna stick with the Las Vegas Aces. Let's go for four titles. That would be pretty great to me.
Amazing. All right. Any other sports that you are a huge fan of, or you really stick with the basketball?
I stick with the basketball. Basketball is the one sport that I like know all of the players and all of the storylines, and I watch games every night during the season. NBA, WNBA, doesn't matter. Basketball is the one that I consume that way. I want to know all of the stuff. Again, that's another. It's hard, but I want to do it.
Right.
I'm interested.
Right.
All the other sports, I watch them like situationally. I watch baseball in October when they're playing for the World Series.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Me too.
I couldn't tell you who won the title. Was it the Dodgers? The Dodgers won. Yeah, it was the Dodgers. The Dodgers won.
Who's the underdog in the NBA this year? Biggest surprise?
Oh, shoot. All right. I will, because this is me being biased, of course, because I'm in San Antonio, but Stephon Castle has been outstanding. Last year's rookie of the year.
My producer just gave you a woo.
Last year's rookie of the year. This year, I was at lunch like 2 hours ago talking about this exact thing with my cousin. But he's playing right now like he believes he's the second best player on the team. Right? On the team that has De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox should be our second best player. But Stephon Castle is already playing like I believe I'm the second best guy. And the leap that he has made, which is crazy because he won Rookie of the Year last year, but the leap that he has made this year, just everybody in San Antonio loves this kid. It's him, Wemby, and Dylan Harper. And those three guys together, everybody in San Antonio right now is so just happy. We're floating around. We lost a game last night against the Knicks. Whatever. We've got our three guys again. We've got our new Tim, Tony, and Manu for the next 5 years where we're going to be like contending. Yeah. It's great.
Okay. So team to watch, would you say? That's a team to watch?
San Antonio Spurs. Yeah. The only team worth watching in the NBA.
All right. Before we go, anything, words of wisdom, inspiration for anyone listening who maybe, might not be doing exactly what they want to be doing. Mm-hmm. Where do they begin today, tomorrow to maybe make that change or to be thinking about getting themselves into a lane that, hey, you never know what might happen. You might actually leave your day job and make some money doing something that you really love.
I think there are always two ways to answer this question. There's like a philosophical answer and a practical answer. So philosophically, that's the easy one. That's the one where you just go, whatever the thing is that you want to do, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to get paid to do that thing, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Somebody is going to get paid to do it, so it might as well be you. Just go, somebody gets to do it. Somebody has to win the game. It should be you. You should go win the game. Go win the game, right? So philosophically, that's always in my head. Anytime I'm thinking about trying something, man, I don't know if I can sell this movie to these people. Somebody's going to get to do it. Why can't it? All right, screw it. I'll try it. Let's see what happens. What do they do? They say no. If I don't do it, that's already a no. So philosophically, there you go. Practically, the thing that was the most helpful to me, the thing where it was like, once this sort of clicked in my head, everything else started to make sense, was I think everybody who works like in any sort of creative field is this amalgam of their influences, right? So like if you read my writing, hopefully you'll be like, oh, that's a little bit like this and a little bit like that and a little bit like this and a little bit like that, right? But you're never going to be a better version of those people than they are. So you got to take those and like turn it into your own thing. And then once you start doing that, you get the voice thing that you're talking about, where it's like, oh, that sounds like Shea Serrano, rather than, oh, that sounds like a Chuck Klosterman ripoff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to like a young person who's trying to figure their way out through the thing, I'm like, all right, you got to focus on that. You got to focus on, like, you have to be able to present an idea in a way that nobody else is. That's how you force somebody else's hand. Like if you and I both write the same thing and we both publish it at the same time, more people are going to click on mine than yours, if for no other reason than because my name is a little bit bigger than yours. That's all. You already lost, not because yours wasn't good writing or whatever. It's because we both wrote the same thing and they know me more. And so you have to like come at it just a slightly different angle. Just change it a little bit. Just figure out a new way. We're all talking about the same 6 things.
Yeah.
Figure out a new way to talk about that thing. And then now they're forced to go to you for that thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a little bit different. Something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Like here's a perfect example. We've been talking a bunch about basketball. And I've mentioned Bill. Bill Simmons is like one of the founding podcast sports culture guys. Like he's one of the biggest in the world. I can't show up and do what Bill is doing. I can't just like go one for one with what he's doing because he's already so much bigger. Why would anybody ever listen to me before they listen to Bill? So if I'm going to do a podcast and I'm going to talk about basketball on it, I've got to figure out the responsibility. The onus is on me to figure out a different way to do it, right? And I think when you're a young writer or podcaster or video person or anything, like just have that in your head all the time. How do I do this just a little bit? Just a tiny bit different. You just need a tiny bit of a difference. And you go, oh, if I want to read that, if I want to hear that, I can only get it from this person. I can't get it from anywhere else.
Okay. Good advice. Shea, what's coming up next? You said you had a book that you making some edits on.
Yeah, I'm always editing something. But right now, a good movie is like, we're in the middle of December, which is my favorite month.
Okay.
It's, typically it's a different movie. We do a different movie from like a different actor or director or whatever all year. But in December, we only do Denzel Washington.
Okay.
4 Denzel movies in a row. So we did Man on Fire. We did Remember the Titans, and then we did Man on Fire, and now we're doing Training Day, and then we'll do Fallen. So I'm in the middle of December right now, making sure that's all bundled. So just type in good movie Shea Serrano, and it'll pop up.
Okay.
And subscribe to that. Okay. Be a paid subscriber to that, because college is expensive. And
tell me about it. I'm going number 3 of my kids are about to start. Yeah, my youngest.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
For some advice, because here's what I'm looking at now, right? For the last 18 years, every day when I've woken up, all 3 of my sons were in my house, and I could walk in their room and see them laying in their bed or whatever. But in exactly 20 days, the twins are both moving out. They're moving out to live on campus, and I'm terrified. I have no idea what my relationship with Laramie is going to look like without those 2 pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I have been asking everybody who has a kid who has like moved out. I'm curious what the pitfalls are. What do I need to make sure I don't do? What do I need to make sure I do?
Well, that's great.
How do I handle it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, your life opens up a little bit because you start to get more time for yourself and more time for your wife and you. And man, you got to make sure you have those date nights. Don't overlook that, and make sure you start spending time together, and make sure you sit down with your wife and you say, hey, what does life look like for us now? Like, what do we want to do together? Because you start off right in life, the 2 of you, and then all of a sudden now you're 2 on 3, right? You're like, you're overpowered with 3 kids, and then that goes away, and now you're back to the 2 of you, or the 2 of you, and you've still got 1 at home. But that relationship with that 1 also becomes better, because now you have more time for that 1. And by the way, the other 2 that leave, they are so fine. They are on their way to manhood, adulthood, to doing their own thing. And you become more like, let them be. That's my advice, is like, let them be, let them experience I know you're like, it's killing me.
I don't know if I could do that.
Let them be.
I could do that.
Let them make some mistakes. Let them go to class, not go to class. It's their life now. If they choose to not turn something in, that's on them. You say like, that's on you. I did this. Look at me. This is what Dad has built. I did that. Now you go build yours. And if you don't show up, that's you not showing up, not me. I already did the work. You got to 18. I have laid the foundation. Now it's up for you to build the walls. You lay the tile. I already did that. Yeah. So there's my advice. And by the way, I have to say, they do come back, and they're amazing. That time through college, and when they come back just, they're like your best friend. If you raised them right.
I'm really hoping.
Yeah.
They'll
come back, and you're going to have such a great time. 3 boys with Dad. Oh, it's so nice. You're going to have a good time.
I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful,
but terrified.
Enjoy that time where the temperature and the volume in the house comes down just a little bit.
Okay.
Just for nothing else, enjoy that.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
All right, Shea, so nice to talk to you.
Yes. Thank you.